Hello, hey y'all.
Good morning.
What's shaking? What's shaking?
How's everyone doing?
Everybody good? Welcome to maximizing your Mondays. We've been doing this since what? April?
Yeah,
Is it April?
I think
And
maybe March.
I could never remember the name of this. It was your idea to do this, right?
Maximize Monday.
Go ahead and sing it.
That's all I got.
your voice ain't working. Your voice ain't working today.
No, not today.
That's how you know people that can sing. They know well, my voice ain't working today. Those of us that can't sing, it ain't never working. Also, y'all like to brag on that too.
Not me. I don't do that.
Yeah, whatever. Y'all do us a favor and share.
Hey, Tasha.
Tasha. What's up, Tasha? What's up, Walter Triplets? What's going on? Y'all
Shania,
share.
Kevin, Chef Heidi.
What's up, y'all? I'm not watching on Facebook, so y'all need to. I hear. Can you hear feedback? I can hear myself through the thing.
I hear it now.
I mean, like when you talk, can you hear
I
yourself?
hear you. I hear you.
I know you can hear me. You're supposed to hear me.
I hear you echoing. I hear your feedback. I don't hear my feedback.
Okay. Maybe I need to turn my microphone down some. What's going on, y'all? What is good? What is good? What is good?
How was your weekend?
It was cool. Busy as always. We had drive-in church on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, of course, we come up in the morning just to make sure everything is good. And then came back to make sure everything was cool for communion.
Nice.
Went to Trader Joe's. And it's cool. How's your weekend?
It was good. Drive-in. I went to a barbecue. Had my hot dog.
You went to a barbecue?
Yes,
did
I
you
did.
Go out there did you go out there and get tested?
No.
You just run
like 3 people. It was just my family.
Oh, it was you, your mom, and your dad?
And my uncle. We went to my uncle's house.
People be like, "Oh, I was at a barbecue yesterday." I'm like, "Come here." I'm like, "No,
I'm the same way. I don't blame you.
I don't want to come near you."
I get it.
My barbershop is open, but I'm afraid to go. I don't know. I just don't. You don't know who's been in there. I don't know, man. You don't know who's been in there. Who does even the barber's like, I only been around like 5 people today, but one of those 5 people.
You never know. No, I get it.
It's not like I can wear a mask so they can do the top of my head. I shave myself. I need them to do this.
Yeah.
So I can't wear a mask doing this.
Yeah.
So, y'all see it's growing in. I actually wanted to grow in a little bit thicker. I want to try it and see what it looks like. And then I'll find a way to shape it up or something like that. But I'm nervous. I probably will go eventually because I don't want to start looking like Sasquatch. But
I went to the salon last week for the first time since everything. There were maybe like 3 people in there at one time. But they made sure to clean off like the chairs, all the like tools and stuff that they use. But still, you never know.
You never know. Hey, maybe I'm being paranoid, but plus they're talking about the numbers are going up. Especially in South Jersey too.
Really?
Yeah, South Jersey the numbers haven't flattened yet. North Jersey it has. I was reading a statistic that Canada, a few places in Europe, New Zealand are almost 97% clear to 100% clear because they shut down a whole lot earlier.
Yeah.
Real strict. And now 3 months later, they're out of it.
When did they open again?
They just started opening it up, I think in June or late May. But they shut down hard for like 2 or 3 months. And then, our numbers are still going up because, Americans, we don't tell me what to do. You're messing with my freedom. Like, y'all crazy.
So stupid.
I know.
Hey, Crystal.
Hey, y'all. Come on. What's up, Crystal? What's up, Isha? Hi, Isha. How are you? But it's hey, Joanne, it's interesting to me how people are responding to this. Again, our numbers are still going up around the country. New Jersey somewhat as a whole has flattened, which is good. But Florida, Arizona, Texas, their numbers are like crazy. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm nervous. Y'all more comfortable than I am, but I don't know.
I'm the same way. I'm okay being at home until all this is done.
Who you telling? So, again, y'all do us a favor, share. We got an important topic to talk about. We want to talk about some things. It's going to be pretty cool, and I think you guys are going to like the conversation as we talk about a few things today. And yeah, because we might as well jump into it now. If you guys got questions, of course, make sure you post them. Oh, before we get started, don't forget it is Bishop's anniversary this month. Mm-hmm. This Sunday's Pastor Ron Carpenter, right? I think so. Yeah. This Sunday at 6, we're going to show a replay from Pastor Ron Carpenter. The following Sunday, Bishop Paul Morton. The following Sunday, Bishop Jakes. Of course, the fourth Sunday, Prophet Amotang will be with us in the morning. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure you tune in each Sunday night at 6 as we enjoy Bishop's anniversary. Y'all do us a favor, blow up his social media, wish him happy anniversary, show him a whole lot of love, sow into his life. I don't think we don't have the banner for his the codes here on this, do we?
I think so. I think Devon is either he made them or he's working on them.
All right. You can go to Givelify, go to the website, sow into his life during this time. He's working real hard, and thank God we have a great pastor, just in general, but especially during a hard time like this. So you want to celebrate him. Yeah. Also, this coming Thursday, we are doing we need to make a graphic for me and Derek's thing Thursday. Mm-hmm. Derek Hodge. Some people may not know him. Those are the members here know him. He used to be our bass guitarist until he moved, and he tours with. He worked with Quincy Jones. He was on tour with a whole bunch of people. Maxwell. The people in the music industry know him, and more people in the public are starting to get to know him. He's got a few jazz albums that just came out. One just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago, I believe. We're going to talk to him this Thursday at 7. It's going to be pretty cool with Derek Hodge, and we're working on a few other people. Bishop and I talked yesterday about some cool people we can get in on these conversations. So Maya, you would be happy.
Okay, good.
Social media wise, we're going to talk to some people, and it's going to be pretty cool. I think that's it. Are we going live tomorrow for that panel, or is that pre-recorded?
No, that's gonna be pre-recorded.
Okay, all right, cool. Mm-hmm. We don't know when it's coming out. Did we talk about that?
I was waiting to hear that from you.
Oh, we'll talk about it after.
Okay.
You got time to take some stuff after? Or you got to go?
I did. We're good.
All right, cool. I got a meeting at 3, so we can do an hour.
Cool.
All righty. If all hearts and minds are clear, let's get started on our topic. We're going to jump into something sensitive today. So if you give me a chance to outline this, I think it'll help each and every single one of us. Our belief systems. Make or break can make or break our success in life. Now, the interesting thing about belief systems is that a lot of our belief systems are subconscious. They're buried in our subconscious, and we don't realize that an action, a behavior, or words are tied to a subconscious belief system, right? Just because you don't think it, just because you're not aware of the thought process doesn't mean the thought process isn't in you. Okay? I'll use this example. Oftentimes I'll have somebody I'll counsel somebody, and they'll say, I don't understand why. I'll use, for example, my relationships never work out. And I'll say, well, let's explore that. And the more we talk and the more we explore, the more we get to the root of why a person is the way that they are.
Yeah.
And it's through peeling back the onion that you start to discover that a lot of our who we are, how we behave, how we speak, how we react is tied to this subconscious belief system that has a hold on us that, quite frankly, we're not aware of. Mm-hmm. Now, if we're going to go a little heavy real quick for a minute. For example, trauma. whether it's abuse or something happened to you, traumatic. Your mind has this. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm sure I'm not going to be totally right in wording here, but the principle's right. Your mind almost goes into a protective mechanism. The only way I can image it is like a cocoon, where y'all hold on, it's going to be kind of sensitive, where you go into self-protective mode and you subconsciously bury that thing, put it away somewhere, right? Because to think about it is traumatic. So your brain does everything it can to save you from losing it. Right. It's the only way I can describe it. Again, I'm probably off on some of the languaging, but that's the only way I can describe it, is that, it almost kind of puts it to the side. And then any inkling of it coming back up, you consciously or subconsciously push it away. Because you go into that self-protective mode. And then here's the thing. That's why you have some people who go through, especially trauma, you start talking to them about certain things and a memory pops up in their mind that they haven't thought about for 20, 30 years. And as you talk to them, they're like, oh, I forgot about that. I didn't think about that. It's because they put it somewhere so protective that they didn't have to deal with it. But the thing is, it was still subconsciously affecting everything that they do. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. And here's what it comes down to. I'm not trying to oversimplify this too much. And here's what it comes down to. Our minds, watch this, are shaped by narratives and stories. Okay. So in order for you to change, you have to figure out what is your narrative. What are the metaphors that locks your mind in, that has your mind locked in? So what story about you is in your mind? So the story can be, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, I'm this, I'm that, so, and that becomes a part of the narrative of who you are.
Right.
And then you start to live out that story, that narrative that's in your mind. And that's why, watch this, you don't always remember the day it happened. Like it was June the 6th, sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. You don't always remember the time, but watch this, you remember the story. And that story, that metaphor, creates this narrative about you. So if your parents or somebody you loved when you were younger called you stupid, dumb, ugly, this, that, so on and so on, so that then has shaped your life narrative.
Right.
And we wonder why we try to get ahead, we try to progress, we try to live, we try to do, and watch this, we're still unhappy. We never fully succeed. We get some measure of success and, it's never good enough. The question is, watch this, you're trying to change your life without changing your narrative.
Right.
You're still stuck on the metaphor that was created when you were 6. It goes back to when God told Adam in the garden, who told you? Who told you weren't good enough? It's like, for instance, I didn't grow up with a lot of money,
Yeah.
When you're a child, you don't know anything about poverty. You don't know anything about poor. You know you got food on the table. You wear hand-me-downs. You don't know that there's a different life out there until you're around somebody that has a different life. But if you grew up and everybody around you wears hand-me-downs, all y'all around y'all,
you think it's normal.
You think it's normal.
Yeah.
Now, something in you tells you that something's better out there. You just don't know that. But it's not until you compare, like, who told you were too short? Who told you were too small? Who told you were too big? Who told you so? There had to be some comparison there.
Right.
And that comparison can shape a narrative of who you are. And the problem that we have is that we're trying to change without changing our narrative.
Right.
So if we're going to maximize our life, the question you got to ask yourself is, what's your story? When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
Wow.
I'm not talking about physically, because your physical interpretation of yourself is based off your internal narrative. you look in the mirror, how do you know your head is too big compared to comparison to somebody else?
What you think about Pastor Nick?
I was going to use a different example, but I don't want to, oh, Jesus. You okay?
We're good. We're here.
If we was in church, somebody blame the devil. Put your head's cut off a little bit. You need to either move it back. Oh, then you're fine now, right where you're sitting. All right. When you move forward, you cut your head off. But like that.
Okay.
Talking about heads. No, I'm playing. I'm joking. I'm playing. But the whole premise is, and I learned this a little bit of this, and I didn't mean to go this far into the narrative thing. I wanted to talk about belief systems, but
no, I think it's important. I just watched Hamilton over the weekend, and that was one of the big things of the show, like Hamilton trying to figure out what his story, what his narrative is. So you see throughout the transition of it that how his narrative made an impact on his choices and relations and everything else.
Yeah. And that's true. That happens. So, I didn't mean to go this far, but I was in a seminar last week, and the bishop was talking about narratives and stuff, and it kind of just came out. Mm-hmm. But I'll credit Bishop Sharon on that. He was talking about the narratives and shaping. I can't say it the way he said it. He just, Bishop Sharon, the linguist and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But the overall premise is that our internal belief systems shape how we approach life.
Yeah.
And we want to change our lives, but we're not changing our belief system. Mm-hmm. It goes back to, again, the God asked Adam, "Where are you?" The next question he ever asked man was, "Who told you?" And for some reason, I keep going back to that. Who told you? Who told you? I did not tell you that, God is saying. Somebody else told you that. And you watch this. No thought is original.
Right.
I don't care what nobody says. No thought is original. All of us are carrying the thoughts of somebody else. Either it's a human being, God, but no thought is original. Mm-hmm. So the way we think about ourselves isn't original. It's somebody else's perception of us. And somebody else's perception of us dictates how we see ourselves.
Yeah. Whether
it's a person or whether it's God, because you can't identify yourself. How do you know? It wasn't until the Bible says their eyes were open and they saw each other and themselves naked, but their view of each other shows something about them. I'm just saying, who told you weren't good enough? Who told you weren't strong enough? Who told you were unlikable or you were rejectable? Who told you all that stuff? And it's not that people can't point out things we need to change. I'm not saying that at all, because we need correction. Amen. But what I'm saying is that a lot of the things that are continuing to sabotage our lives did not come from God. It came from the narrative that was created for us. Mm-hmm. And today we got to start breaking down those narratives. Good.
Why do you think we're so quick to believe those other things that people say?
I think because it sounds like a mighty Russian wind in here, don't it?
Is that thunder? Like, what's going on?
It sounds like you hear like a wind tunnel coming in. Like I said, we in church, ain't nothing but the devil. The devil's busy. God is moving right now. We blame everything on the devil.
I forgot my umbrella today, man.
It's supposed to rain.
It's stormy now, supposedly, to my phone.
We have ADD. We start talking on something and then we just kind of divert into something else. I think the reason. No, it's okay. How many times do I do that? I think the thing is, it's easier to believe the worst about you than it is to believe the best about you. Mm-hmm. So to me, Eve felt too easy in the garden. She felt too easy. Wow. Temptation doesn't start outside of you; it starts inside of you. So Eve was sitting there by that tree. And watch this. She was sitting by that tree and she was looking at it, and her narrative started to change.
Yeah.
Now she felt like she wasn't enough without it.
Wow.
She's looking at it the wrong way. So instead of looking at it as, I'm enough with God, let me leave this alone. She was looking at the things she could not have. And the thing she could not have distorted her self-narrative.
So are you saying that maybe she had that inner narrative before she was tempted by the devil? Maybe?
Yeah, yes, because she saw that. Because remember, temptation starts within, does not start outside of you.
Uh-huh.
So all the enemy did was appeal to what was going on in her. He appealed to those internal things already that came from her view of the tree. So again, it goes back to, I can't interpret myself out by myself. The tree, instead of her looking at the tree the way God saw it, she started looking at the tree as something else.
Wow.
Thus, in her internally changing her narrative. But she didn't realize the tree, which is a test of liberty, that the tree wasn't supposed to change the way you see about yourself. The tree was supposed to confirm who you are by your ability to stay away from it.
Yeah.
You know, rather than her looking at it and saying, if I stay away from this, the more I am like God, rather than Satan appealing to her saying, God doesn't want you to have it because you'll be just like him. But again, what you believe about yourself dictates how you respond to life. And I really believe that a lot of us are missing great opportunities, missing divine events, not because of God, but because of how we see about ourselves. The first thing to fall affected was their self-esteem, their self-image, their self-perception. Then God shows up and they realize they got an issue with him too. And then they got to run into the behind the trees because they don't think that God will accept them because they can't accept themselves.
Wow.
So when your narrative is, I don't want me, that means nobody else is going to want me too. So when the voice of somebody comes, I run rather than open up. And how many times we get in good relationships, a good person comes and we run away. Now notice, they stuck together with each other because both of them was crazy. Both of them fell in sin. They couldn't fix each other.
Yeah.
And when we're locked in that cycle of a fallen state, we hang around other fallen people to confirm our fallen nature, rather than going around somebody. Instead of them saying, "Hey, God, we messed up."
Right.
God had to come down, and when he did come down, they ran rather than running towards him. But again, if I don't accept me, I assume that God and nobody else will also. Because why? That's how I see myself, and my belief system affects how I react.
So we have a good question from Michelle. She says, but if all thoughts come from external, how is the temptation internal?
Well, it goes back to like I said, the thoughts don't start within per se as much as they do outside. Because again, let's look at this, right? God tells them this is who you are. God tells them don't touch a tree, right? Now put these two trees in front of you. You choose which one you want, right? Imagine if the tree of knowledge of good and evil wasn't there. Would Eve be tempted? There's no temptation in the garden. There's nothing to appeal to her that she can't have. There is no lure to anything because there's nothing there to take you away from God.
Right.
So God, external, well, internal too, because you get the semantics, what I'm saying. God gives them what to think. But then she sees a tree and something in her, like Satan and like Lucifer in heaven. Because remember, watch this, let's go back even further. Lucifer's in heaven, right? There is no temptation there. The only temptation was he looks at God, looks at himself, and says, you know what? I want that. There's no tree of knowledge of good. There's no temptation of, if I eat this, I'm going to get kicked out of heaven. But there is this, I'm tired of being the reflection, because the Bible says he was from jewels. He was all, I'm tired of being the reflection. I want to actually be him. I don't want to be the worshiper. I want to be the one that is worshiped. Right? And he says that on iniquity, a flaw was found in him out of comparison. So you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, he was still looking outside of himself.
Right.
And instead of him seeing God as the God of all creation, the God that's right, the God that's worthy to be worshipped, he said, nah, bruh, I want to be you. I want to ascend up there and sit on the throne. I want to go up and do that. Distorted.
Wow.
I know that it's trying to be too pragmatic, but you know, it's just the way it works. It's but everything God creates that has if I could say a will of its own has a proclivity to walk away, because the only people created by God can remove themselves from God.
Mm.
If I could say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope that makes sense.
That's very interesting.
I didn't mean to go here this far. I don't even what we want to talk about. but I'm just saying, like, look at it. So Eve had the tree in the garden, right? It's not that the tree was bad. It was the choice was bad. Satan had his quest for the throne that God had when he was Lucifer in heaven. And both of them created this thinking in them. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by external. You know, it's not the tree. The Bible says everything God made was good. So the tree itself was not sin. It was their decision about the tree in the doorway, you know what I'm saying, into it. It was a decision that was sin. Because the fruit would give you knowledge of good and evil. If I could say, I hope I'm right on that, but you get just what I'm saying? Yeah. Talking about the principle here about that it's this external thing that appeals to something internal in me. That's all. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. Because watch this. Think about it. It's not that everything you're tempted to do is not always sinful. In this sense, watching TV is not a bad thing. Going to the gym isn't bad. Your phone isn't bad. But you spending more time watching TV than you do with God is bad.
Yeah.
You know, we always think about sin like some, dirty thing.
Right.
But you ain't read your Bible all day, but you've been on your phone the whole entire time. You know, you're not putting God first. It's not that the phone is actual sinfulness nature. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. So just, all I'm saying is the principle. I'm trying to talk about the principle of it. How do we get all the way out here?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It happens every time.
I know. But what I'm saying is that you got to be careful of the external and the internal.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is this: we can't fix everything external. So what do we have to do? Monitor the internal.
So how do we do that? Because I feel like a lot of this too is generational, like the words or the experiences of your parents affect you and it causes you to respond in different ways, right? So when it's something that is just so in tune to who you are, like how do you kind of push through that barrier of trying to do things differently?
Well, I think first is being aware. It's aware of your flaws, aware of your bad treatments. Like, so I can be a lot like my father because he's in me. The bad side is in me. So I purposely stay away from stuff, because I know that thing that he has is inside of me. So it's a daily thing to overcome Gregory Smith in me. All right. Because he's there. And it's a conscious decision through the work of the Holy Spirit, through prayer, through studying the Bible, through sacrifice and obedience. All those things play a role in, but I think part of it is your awareness of it. You have to know what's wrong with you. Yeah. Here's the thing: the older you get, you got to know what's wrong with your people that raised you, and still love them and say, you know what, my parents or my grandparents or my aunt, my uncle, whoever, my older cousins, they meant well.
Yeah. But
this is not right. And it's not disloyal. I'm talking if they're blatantly wrong. Like it's not disloyal. Like everybody perceives this. So my family, they know I'm crazy. They understand. So I remember one time, when you're a child, you don't see the flaws of the people that you grew up with like that. You're not that totally aware of it. You kind of see them through a lens of a child. And the older you get, one day you're at an event and you see all of them, you're like,
they're crazy.
Right.
I had a couple of those moments.
Yeah, and you're like, I never noticed that before. And then watch this. When you start thinking back, it was there the whole entire time. It's just you weren't aware of it.
Yeah.
So I think a big part of it is awareness and understanding that all of our families have issues and choosing not to be loyal to the issues of your family. That's a great start right there. And not perpetuating that same thing.
It's hard because when you realize your family's crazy and then you think about all the things that you do, it's like, oh, I got some work to do.
Right. It's especially when the thing you dislike in your parents, you see in yourself. And you tell yourself, I'm never going to sound like them. I'm never going to do that. And then lo and behold, when you get older, especially when you have children, it comes out. It comes out. And you're like, yo.
I hear already. Like Deacon Andrea LeBou is here.
Yeah, I can see that. You are a lot like your mother. I can see that a whole lot. In a nice way, but your mother's a whole lot nicer though.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Get her. You get her later. Get her later. But she's a whole lot nicer than you are.
You just don't know her like I do. That's all.
Oh, Deacon LeBou is love. See, James said we're driven away by our own lust. That's what I'm talking about. We're driven away by our own lust. We're only tempted by what appeals to us. Like for instance, now I'm not saying you got, like for instance, if you saw somebody drop $5, your inclination is, hey sir, ma'am, you dropped this money, right? That should be your inclination. You took a little long time to answer that.
No, of course it is.
All right. Now let me ask you a question. If you saw them drop a stack of hundreds, I'm not saying you would take it, but something in you may be like, they didn't see it. Right? You would start contemplating.
Yeah, of course it'd be a thought.
Right. And you would pick it up and go give it to them, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not, what I'm saying is that people have a different threshold. And this is why I'm telling people all the time, say, I would never do that. Are you sure? I wouldn't. And people always, I'll never do that. No, never. Until you're put in that situation, you'll never know what you'll do.
There's a TV show like that on, I think it's on Netflix. I can't remember the name, but they put people unknowingly into these situations where it's like, would you really do? I think one of the things, like, would you kill somebody? And like, it's scary to see the decisions that these people are making. Yeah,
you never know what you'll do until you, like, no woman that, or a man that's in an abusive relationship, as a child says, you know what? I want to be in an abusive relationship when I grow up. But you never know what you're going to do. I've heard people say this all the time. If I get with somebody and they cheat on me, I ain't never going to take them back. Until you are with somebody, deep relationship, especially if you got kids with them, you got bills together, your thinking is not as hard and fast. Now, I'm not saying put up with abuse and, bad treatment. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you never know what you're going to do until you're put in a situation. That's all I'm saying. And it's easy to say what you would not put up with when you're not in a position to have to put up with it.
Right.
And usually when people start talking trash, my first thing is, have you been in it yet? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no.
And you gotta be careful what you say, because you might talk yourself into that situation.
You never know. And it's so subtle sometimes that you just never know you never know what you're gonna put up with. How did we get all the way out here? Jeez.
I don't know. But 30 minutes into it.
We didn't even get on the topic I really want to talk about. but maybe if we don't get it today, we won't do it today. Maybe Fresh Friday we can kind of jump into it.
Okay.
The procrastination thing. Because y'all millennials, y'all need to learn about procrastination. Jesus, keeping the crook. I'm playing.
It's true.
But the overall premise is like this: we're here to help change the world, but it's better to change yourself first before you start trying to change everybody else. Because at the end of the day, the world is going to be what it is. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you just sit there and walk by and don't make an impact. What I'm saying is the world's going to be what it is. And we have to learn to focus on my internal more. Work on that, but I got to get my internal. Because temptation is always going to be here.
Yeah.
Sin is always going to be here. Question is, how am I going to respond to it?
Right.
And the Bible already shows us being in a sinless environment doesn't guarantee that you're going to do the right thing. I'm just saying.
You said it.
I'm just saying. Don't guarantee nothing. So, I mean, like I'm going to be wrong, but I'm just quoting the scripture and a couple other things. Uh, anything you want to share on it before we move on?
Nope, I think good.
No? All right. So I think we need to start. And it's honestly, and I can admit, it's hard asking God to show you those things about yourself that need to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard looking into the mirror. One time I asked God, I said, Lord, show me me. Within a week, I said, okay, stop. I was like, please stop. I think I'm good. I got it.
Yeah.
And it's not like God was like, here's your problem. Here's your problem. It's like every day it was a problem. Every day was something. And this side of me I didn't like was just coming out. And I'm like, I was like, okay, God, I got the point. I got it. Stop. Turn it around. Forget it. Let's do this a little slower. It's like, and it was, but it just goes to show that we all have to face our narrative and understand this. In most Pentecostal circles, we get this messed up. And I've been talking a lot. Sorry, Maya. Well, you don't care. You like me talking most of the time.
I'm listening. I'm taking it all in. That's all.
That's your excuse for not having. You got intelligent things to say. You just, we're gonna work on your narrative. So I'm playing. But transformation takes time, and deliverance is not always momentary.
Mm-hmm.
In Pentecostal circles, we want to make transformation one moment. You come to the altar, we lay hands on you, boom, done. That's not how deliverance works all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not how God delivers you most of the time. Sometimes, yes, God can boom, it gone. And you've heard people, they were on drugs and God delivered them and the taste was gone. And it's not that they weren't ever tempted again, but just done.
Yeah.
That's not everybody's testimony. And that most of us, our change happens in the process. And we have to understand that transformation takes time. The Greek word metamorphosis. It takes work and it takes time, which means this: deliverance is not always an event. It's a process. Every single day, I choose to walk delivered. I choose not to respond to this old me. It's still there. I just choose not to respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this example. You ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe?
Yeah, a long time ago.
When he played the guy for Princeton, the professor of Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the movie, they ask him, well, are the people gone? He said, no, they're still there. I just choose not to respond to them.
Wow.
And I said, that is the perfect sermon on deliverance right there. The perfect one. He said, I still see him. I still hear from him. I just choose not to respond to him. That is what deliverance is most of the time. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's going to be taken away. I just learn to overcome it every single day. That's really what it is. They're going to talk to you, but it doesn't mean you have to answer them. Your issue is going to have a lot to say, but it doesn't mean you have to respond to your issues.
Mm-hmm.
Deliverance is a lot like that. Deliverance is not removal. Deliverance is oftentimes management.
Yeah. That's all right. Maybe that's how we can get into the whole procrastination thing, because I feel like things that are scary or whatever that we need to be delivered from, it's easy to put them on the back burner just because of the, how big it is to go through it.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you agree or disagree?
Is there a way to put this link in the I can email it to myself and put it in there, right? I want that's the article.
You can do a banner.
Well, do I have to send you the link, or you have it? You have it on your.
I'll do it. I have it.
Okay, all right. So the reason why we really wanted to talk about this belief system was, we're going to talk about faith and belief, maximizing your belief today. And then I ran across this article about procrastination. And procrastination is not always somebody being lazy. Procrastination, from the article, and we're going to post the link to it. You can read it later. I thought it was good. Procrastination is oftentimes a direct result of trying to avoid anxiety, stress, and pressure. What are you supposed to do with that?
They can type it into their browser and look at it.
Can you put it in the comment section?
Oh, yeah.
Just as a link. They ain't gonna do all that. Don't you know people?
Procrastinators, you.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So the link's in the bio. It's a good article. You should read it. And it made me think about that too. I think a lot of people do this. It's not that they're procrastination, again, is not always because somebody's lazy and they have no drive. Some people, their drive is affected by their emotional reaction to what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they avoid what they have to do because they're trying to avoid the stress, the anxiety, the depression, and the weight of what comes with doing that responsibility. You know, so it's easy just to say they lazy rather than getting to the root of why they procrastinate.
Yeah.
And I even looked at my own life. There are times where I procrastinated on stuff because I kept telling myself either I can't do it, I can't do it, I'm not good at it. And I avoided it because I didn't want to deal with the stress and the anxiety that comes with doing it. But what's crazy is this, is that once I start doing it, the anxiety and stress goes away when I'm doing it. And then it's like this constant cycle. You don't feel like dealing with it every single day.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat.
But watch this. That fear and anxiety comes from our internal narrative.
Yeah.
And we're trying to work without changing the narrative. Why am I so afraid of doing this? And then work on why I'm afraid, why it brings me anxiety, so I won't have as much anxiety when I do it.
Right.
But we're sitting there, I rebuke anxiety, I rebuke laziness, and it's still there. I rebuke that fear. It's still there because you haven't gotten to the root of what's driving that fear and why this thing is making you anxious. And that's my question to everybody here today is, why are you so afraid? Why are you so anxious? Oh boy. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing to me today. It's quietest church in America.
We're seeing a lot of fear of failure, fear of rejection. That's another one too. Thinking about all that needs to be done.
Now, I'm gonna quote this article a little bit, y'all. And so read the article. The link is in the comment section. Here's something that this person says. It says, I don't think there's a person out there who hasn't found themselves procrastinating at some point. I'm a particular fan of what I've termed productive procrastination. That is when I do something productive, like organizing my linen closet, instead of doing the more pressing, time-sensitive task I'm avoiding. I rationalize that the productive task needs to be done, but the truth is it really doesn't. This is what we do. Instead of us doing what she's basically saying, instead of us doing what we're supposed to do, we find ourselves being busy. We make ourselves busy to give us an excuse not to do the thing we're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And I know people like that. You know people like that. We do it sometimes. We justify not doing what we're supposed to do by being busy over here with stuff that, quite frankly, doesn't need to be done right now.
Right.
And you find yourself avoiding it and using work to justify it. Oh boy. I think everybody's guilty of that. I like that productive procrastination. You find yourself just doing stuff just to avoid. Oh, you looking at the comments?
Yeah.
I thought this was a conversation. You ain't helping.
I'm conversating with the people in the comments.
Me and Deacon LeBou gonna start doing this together because you
go for it. You're perfect.
No, you're staying. You're gonna grow.
I'm gonna have to deal with a certain person and their personality.
Yeah. I'd look. It's true. And I mean, think about it. You know, like she said, the linen closet. Yeah, it needs to be clean, but it doesn't need to be clean right now. Mm-hmm. You got this pressing thing that you got to get done. See, I love your mom. You got this pressing thing I want to get done. Oh, we're gonna water this seed. She gonna grow, Mama LeBou. But that continuous procrastination. Some people procrastinate because I get more energy when I procrastinate. I get more at the last minute. I'm more creative, and that can be true, but it's also more stressful. And the older you get, the less tolerance you have for that. Because eventually, it's like, you know what? It ain't worth it. Let me get this done early. Wow, that's true, Shakira. Yep, you start doing a whole bunch of other stuff to justify why you're not doing it. So let me find another one of these quotes. Where is it at? Here, so I'll use this again. So the person says, we put things off because it is difficult to tolerate a feeling that the activity elicits. In my case, and my clients, we're procrastinating in order to avoid the anxiety evoked by what we needed to do. And that's what it is right there. It's the feeling that comes that we're avoiding, rather than, watch this, embracing the anxiety that comes with it. And understanding, watch this, I know me, doing this makes me anxious. But the only way I can overcome it is take the bull by the horns, right? And learn to, watch this. God told Jeremiah 3 times, don't be afraid. Why? Because he knew he'd be afraid. So he said, when your fear comes, this is how I want you to respond to it. He didn't say the fear was going to go away. He said, have courage and be strong. And don't be afraid. Don't let the fear get the best of you. It's going to come, right? So you got to learn to embrace your fears and say, you know what? I'm going to do this scared.
Right.
I'm going to do this anxious. I'm going to do this. Like, for instance, especially if you're a particular person, I'll throw me on the altar. So since I'm like, if I'm writing something, I hate writing things out sometimes because I don't think it sounds good. I say it better internally than I can by writing it. So I go back and read it and be like, this is just horrible. So I avoid it sometimes because I know how much I'm a nitpick the sentence. And I know how I am. So I'm like, I don't just don't do it at all because I don't want to. But here's the thing. The only way I can get better is if I embrace it and start doing it.
Right. Or I think even giving yourself the opportunity to find different ways to still get it done. But I guess like addressing the problem in a different way instead of just avoiding it altogether.
Well, I think that goes back to, like I said, working on that narrative. Mm-hmm. Why am I so scared? So like she quotes this teenager she was counseling and says, I'm trying not to read this whole entire thing. It was good. It says, in my client's case, she is a high achieving student who has fallen behind while she struggles with panic attacks. Doing homework, which she's very capable of, raises her anxiety in the short term because she's confronted with the knowledge that she's behind. So failure to her is hard, right? We're going to break this down. Failure to her is hard. And because she's so high achieving and such a perfectionist, she doesn't like the fact that she's fallen behind. But here's the problem. She's avoiding doing her homework because she's behind and she is high achieving. But by her not doing it, it's going to put her further behind. And all procrastination does, that's driven by fear and anxiety, is makes the situation worse, which then makes your anxiety higher.
Yep.
So it's like you're stabbing yourself with a two-edged sword. It hurts going in, it hurts going out, because you know it needs to be get done, and you don't like how it's getting done, so you don't do anything. Then you're mad at yourself that nothing's done, and you're in this vicious cycle. Rather than recognizing that if I do this, I'll catch up.
Right. Or ask for help. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. Let me see, what else does she say? Here it is right here. So she says procrastination isn't a personality flaw or a time management issue. It's a way of coping with challenging emotions and negative moods induced by certain tasks: boredom, anxiety, insecurity, frustration, resentment, self-doubt, and more. We procrastinate because this is good. We procrastinate because our short-term need for a better mood outweighs our long-term need to complete the task. I'm going to say that again, right? We procrastinate because our short-term need for a better mood, wanting to feel good for the short term, outweighs our long-term need to complete the task. So basically, we want short-term gratification and delay the long-term gratification. I want to feel good right now, but it's at the expense of later. This need is even greater in adolescence. She talks about whose emotions are less manageable. So when we procrastinate, we're looking to feel good in the moment. But the problem is you're not going to feel good next week. And then because you don't feel good next week, you're going to do what feels good in the moment. Then you're not going to feel good 2 weeks later.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden years pass by because you're trading momentary pressure relief.
Wow.
Whew. You're going for momentary pressure relief over long-term satisfaction. And then you can imagine yourself that you haven't completed what you're supposed to complete. And then you're back to that vicious cycle again.
Yep.
Procrastination is a vicious cycle. And what Bishop says, he said this a long time ago, procrastination is rebellion in slow motion.
Wow.
Procrastination is rebellion in slow motion. We say, I'm going to do it to justify not doing it.
Right.
So you're still rebelling. You're just doing it slowly. So when people ask, like, if I ask people, this is no shade, I'm just throwing it out there. When I ask people, well, did you start that yet? I'm going to. And I tell people all the time, I don't see going to on the calendar. There is no going to do on the calendar. Going to do it means you haven't done it. But we feel like I was going to do is a good excuse, not realizing going to do means you have not done it. And then the problem is this: your procrastination is hurting you, and who else? Because I'm sure our procrastination is not just hurting us.
Yeah.
Our fear is affecting people that are connected to us. Oh boy. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Y'all ain't saying nothing today, boy. This is what Mama LaBou says. We're going to bring her on as a guest one time. We tend to be crisis motivated, move when we have no choice. And you can't survive off of crisis motivation. It's going to tire you out. It is going to tire you out. When you're young, you enjoy that. Last minute, write the paper, all the stress that goes along with it. When you get older, nah, man, you ain't got it like you used to.
Yeah. Then I asked, maybe that has something to do with the adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah, it is the adrenaline rush. And sometimes you do feel more creative when you procrastinate, when you wait to the last minute. But the problem is when you procrastinate, you don't think of all the, you could have did it better. Procrastination means you're used to just getting by.
Wow.
I give what's enough just to get me by. But you could have did better. Okay. All righty. Any questions?
Everyone's just kind of swinging it in.
Procrastination means you have not done it yet. So again, going back to the beginning, what is your narrative? What is your metaphor for why you procrastinate? If your procrastination is tied to a belief system. It's tied to a belief system. It's hurting you. It's hurting people you're connected to. And we all do it. And here's the thing. When you know you need to do it, do it. I'd much rather you start it than do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you got to learn to think before you do. What they used to call paralysis of analysis. Mm-hmm. Meaning this, there's nothing wrong with analyzing, but you do so much, you analyze so much that you end up doing nothing. You don't do anything. It's like, how many times you go research this before you start it? And you keep just, well, I don't have everything yet, so I'm still analyzing. I'm all good for you analyzing, but watch this. Your analysis actually grows as you're working on it. You can't analyze everything before you start.
Right.
Because the problem with that is that after you do all, if you need everything to be 100% based off your analysis, what happens when a monkey wrench jumps in there when you're doing it, and now this is not going according to plan, and you just give up.
Mm-hmm. You can't do that.
Yeah, but sometimes we overthink as an excuse not to do anything.
Right.
Okay.
That's good, Pastor Nick.
Y'all read the article. It's meant for teenagers, but I'm reading this like adults struggle with this. So here's my thing to all of us. The thing you've been waiting to do, start it today. Today. All right. You have to push past your fears and your anxieties, but get to the root of why you're so scared. That's my thing. You want to overcome your fears, get to the reason why you're so scared. Once you identify the reasons, then you can start working on them.
It's time to level up.
Yeah. So, but again, what makes you comfortable? I'm glad you brought that up, Leah. What makes you comfortable? What makes all of us comfortable? We get to a place we get comfortable, then we just stop. So we never excel. We just get comfortable and we live below our means. You know, one of the hardest things to do is to see somebody that can be doing so much more.
Yeah.
Produce so much more. Love that person and watch them squander it all away.
Mm-hmm.
It is so hard.
It's like, what are you doing? Like,
you can have so much more and you're just sitting on it, doing nothing. But again, there's some belief system that's holding that person back. There's a story, there's a narrative, there's a metaphor that has people starting stuff, never finishing them, not starting at all, procrastinating, you know? Yeah. You don't want to be, as they say, in your 50s and 60s, with your shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Right.
I mean, there's always room to grow. You know, if you get the revelation at 65, at least you got time to grow. But I don't know. I've been talking for about an hour now. I don't know. Y'all got any questions? So Maya, I threw myself on the altar of sacrifice. Is your
okay?
is your all on the altar of sacrifice? Is there some areas of your life that you can chime in on that you've been procrastinating in? Like, I know writing more is mine, which I need to start doing more.
Yeah.
Anything with you?
No, for sure. Like, and I think it's. What did you say?
You be watching me bare my soul and just sit there and look.
I'm glad you bared your soul past today. No, I think there are definitely things that I do let my fear stop me on. And I'm definitely guilty of saying, oh, I'm too busy and have all this to do, because it's important, but I have to get better at, I think we talked about this before, balancing out, because everything's important. But I know I also am stepping out on faith on something that I'm working on, and I'm still having all those fears, but choosing to not listen to them. So
good.
2020's been real. It's time to
You gonna talk to us about it?
I will, but not now.
Oh, I'll talk to you about it.
I'll talk to you about it, but yeah. It's very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, at the same time. But you know what's funny about us? We like, I'm so busy. Like sometimes I'll pull that too, and I'm like, bro, you just sat there and watched a TV show for a whole hour. You could have been, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not one of those people, you work 24/7, never watch TV, never read a book, but we got time.
Yeah.
We make time for what we want to make time for.
It's true.
We do. It's funny when you're sinning, you don't need much sleep. You think about it. All of a sudden we get saved, and now I need rest.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are sitting on stuff.
Yeah.
And it's time to get it done today. But the first thing I would say is this: if you really want to overcome it, you have to identify your story, identify your narrative, and you and the Holy Ghost, the Word, God, counsel, and all that stuff, start changing your story.
Yeah. Changing
your self-narrative. You start changing your self-narrative, you start approaching life differently.
Right.
And we gotta stop making excuses for stuff. Call it what it is. I'm making excuses. I could have got up and walked this morning, but I was making excuses. Amen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna walk later. But usually what we do is, I missed it at 8:00, so I guess I'll start tomorrow. No, start it today. You got find the time of day to do it.
Yeah.
Because when we delay stuff because it wasn't at the right time, we usually
there's never going to be a right time.
There's never going to be a right time. Start it.
Yeah.
Start it. You want to start exercising? Get up. Unless you're not, if you're at work, you can't do it. But do something.
You can exercise at work too.
Well, yeah.
Get one of those foot pedal things.
No, I forgot about
Sitting
those.
at your desk.
Yeah, I forgot about those. Do something.
Yeah.
So, and here's the other thing: have yourself an accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
Have somebody hold you to what you need to do. All right. It's 2:00. Excuse me.
Lunchtime.
Sorry.
Nap time.
I wish. I wish. Trust me, I wish. All right, y'all. We're doing the Abundant Harvest Bible Institute is hosting some online classes. If you want to register at gotobethany.com and click on HBI to register. And Pastor Prescott, myself, and Bishop are teaching some classes. There are only 3 classes. Pastor Prescott's teaching the class on trust. I'm teaching a class on the Bible and mental health. Bishop's doing a class on about, excuse me, oh, sorry, the pandemic. These kids, man. Have to be all awake and stuff. Plus all this work. What was I saying? About the pandemic, the class will start next week. You go to register. It's only $30 for the class. I think it's $10 to register. Register.
That's great.
They're gonna be really good. And go to gotobethany.com, click HBI, follow the prompts, will take you there. We're doing COVID testing here at the plaza till 4:00, right?
Yeah, till 4.
Till 4. Go get tested if you can. We got anything special coming out? Excuse me. What's going on?
So we're continuing Bishop's Q&A series.
Okay.
That's really good. Board at Bethany this week.
Which one?
The new one's coming out on Thursday.
Which new one?
The one that we're filming this week. I don't want to give it away. It's gonna be funny.
Oh, we're filming it. Then it's coming out this week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one we're doing with the I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm not gonna say
that one.
That one. Okay. Okay. So I need to get the stuff. We'll talk after, so I can make sure I get the stuff. They show me how to do everything.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's good. I thought it takes about a week or some change for y'all to edit it and stuff. That's cool. It's coming out this week.
Yeah, we're working on this one this week.
Man, I hope they don't look at us like we're sacrilegious.
I think it's too late for that, Pastor.
Like, how could y'all mess around with the law? The social distancing, touch your neighbor thing seem to be doing pretty good.
Yeah, we were really enjoying that. Yeah.
If you missed it, go back to our page and watch how the new touch your neighbor thing.
Yeah. And I want to get people watching. You guys submit some Board at Bethany ideas that you'd like to see too. What do you think would be funny?
Yeah. All right. If all hearts and minds are clear, may the Lord watch over you. May the Lord bless you. May heaven keep you. May heaven smile upon you. In the name of the Father, name of the Son, name of the Holy Ghost. God bless you. And everybody said, Amen. You remember that? Amen. Amen. See you later. Bye.
Bye.